Oh, hey, everybody. We are live. Okay, yeah. So my Facebook thing just went boop, 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 boop to me, and I have to fix it right away. Hey, guys, it's Tim Gillette, and we're live with another Tim Gillette show. Today's guest is someone who's becoming a real good friend of mine, and I'm sure you'll find out as today's show goes on because I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But anyway, Gladys Boutwell is someone I met through my mentor, Craig Duswalt. And we hit when we met. Well, we met in person. I think we were friends on Facebook for a while, but when we met in person this summer, we hit it off. All right, we're like best buds all of a sudden because we found some things that we have in common and that we love to talk about. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that today, but we're going to talk more about what her business is, how she helps people, and some of the wild adventures this girl goes on. This girl's got some adventure to her life. All right, including coming to podcasts like mine, I guess is an adventure. But anyway, so let me bring up Gladys Boutwell. Hello, Gladys.
Hi there.
Hey, so now I know where you're calling in, but tell from because we talk so much. But tell every my listeners where you're from.
I'm in Oregon right now, so just south of Portland. So it's about 20 minutes from the Washington State line. I'm in Wilsonville, Oregon. So particularly a little suburb, 25,000 people live here, work and live here.
Now, I actually have a guy who's going to be speaking at my event this weekend from Oregon, from Portland. And he's coming down. Yeah. So, anyways, another friend of mine that's been on the podcast before a couple times and stuff like that. I don't know if you know Eli Delaney. Do you know Eli?
Let me see my Rolodex. No, his name's not
I
right
don't.
now.
Yeah, I don't think you and him are in the same, like even in the same related businesses. So I think you guys, I don't think that it would be odd that you two met at a networking function.
But you never know. I'm like, except for last year, I was always at networking events like every day, at least a couple times a week. So it is very possible I run into a plethora of different industries in what I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and the other thing is like it's like asking someone from their town. It's like people say, "Oh, you live in Dallas, so do you know Troy Aikman?"
Right?
Yeah,
As you
yeah,
should
like
know.
we hang out all the time. Yeah, sure. Oh, Mark Cuban's in Dallas. Do you know him? And I'm like, sure, yeah. I stopped by his house this morning on the way to coffee. Yeah, sure. So we all think we know each other from different towns, but interesting.
And
So,
you never know. Sometimes I ran into people that I'm like, I know that person.
well, I actually had a lady that I had a meeting with like a month ago, and she said to me when we met, she shook my face. I looked at her face, and I'm like, she looks familiar to me, but I don't know where. She told me I look familiar to her, don't know where. Like, we were related in a previous life or something. I don't know, but like we live 13 miles from one another,
Oh,
and we
wow.
had a meeting, and it's like, we look so familiar to one another, but I didn't even look at her name, and I went, I don't really know anyway. But
Yeah.
well, Gladys, I like to welcome you to the podcast, and I like to do this podcast to find out about people and what they do, all right, and their story. You've got some adventure to your story. Now, first, you're like in the insurance game or something, aren't you?
Yes, I'm an insurance broker. Specifically, I focus on employee benefits. So anything that touches the employee, their medical, their dental, vision, voluntary products, short-term, long-term disability, life. So if it touches the employee, I'm usually a part of that.
Okay. Okay. So then, like, like people like me who are like these solopreneurs, you're kind of not my agent. Is that right?
Not necessarily. I do have quite a few clients that are individual clients. Open enrollment started yesterday.
Hmm.
So right now it's like back to back to back appointments well, they opened it up through January 15th. So anybody that's going through the individual market, whether they're going through the marketplace or directly with the insurance carrier, they can make changes right now through January 15th without a special enrollment period. That means that they don't have to have lost other coverage, been denied Medicaid, whatever it may be. They don't need any reason. They could just change plans or enroll for the very first time. And so I am helping those individuals. And sometimes those individuals go from an individual to a group plan because there's business owners that now they hired their first employee, or now they're at two or three employees that used to be part time. Now they're full time. Hey, let's see what a group plan may do for you, and we move them over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, and working with the individual plans, that market kind of really opened up with the Obamacare or Affordable Care Act. Is that correct?
That is correct. So in 2013 is when I got involved on the individual market. I had gotten licensed, I was doing voluntary products, and then the ACA was more prominent at the time because there was a lot of information coming out. And so I got certified with the marketplace here in Oregon and got contracted with the carriers and started working with a nonprofit. I reached out to them and I had met actually when I moved to Oregon. I did a lot of networking and I got to meet different nonprofits, different organizations. And so I reached out to some of them. I said, "Hey, do you need help? I know that you're helping on enrolling Medicaid. I do insurance for those that don't qualify for Medicaid." So they invited me to the first enrollment event that they did, and I learned a lot about Medicaid. I knew nothing. So I learned through them and answered the insurance questions. So then they invited me to the next one and the next one and the next one. So all of September, October, November was just enrolling individuals. Then in December, they called me and they said, we're getting return calls and people are coming in. They're getting their notifications of what they qualify for, and we don't know what to do with them. Can you help us?
Yeah.
So from December of 2013 through May of 2015, excuse me, 13 to 14, May of 2014, I was in their office almost every day. I had an office that they let me use, and I just helped all the individuals that were coming through. So that was a lot of fun. Just being able to educate individuals on insurance and being able to give. So I was giving, I was helping, and I was educating. Those are some of my top values. And so that made me feel good that I simplified things to where when they left me after an hour, they understood why they had this plan and how to properly use it so that they weren't spending more money than they needed to. So it was kind of cool.
Cool. And like, was like insurance just something you like figured out as a business, or was this something you really loved or had a passion for that you wanted to go down that line?
So I've always been in financial services. So
Okay.
I've been accounts payable, accounts receivable. I worked for a large payroll company and did the fixing of the tax returns, then collecting the funds for those for the payments of the direct deposits and taxes. Then I got into call center and garnishments. And unless you're in garnishments, garnishments are very particular on how monies can be drawn out of a paycheck. So
Yeah.
it was really intense to learn that piece of the business, and then get into a call center and got transferred from California to Texas, and then from Texas moving to Oregon. So it was always financial services and helping businesses. So I got to work with different sized businesses. I even worked in California internationally, did credit and collections. When I moved to Oregon, I became my mom's full-time caregiver. So going to an interview was really hard. And I did interview for a few things, and one of them was here in town. And I'm like, okay, well, I have, a mom I take care of. Is it going to be okay if I need to step away for a half hour to go take care of her and back? And they were okay with that. And what didn't get me that job was that I had large payroll experience, not small payroll experience. Then Banfield was another one that the other one had the tech experience. I didn't.
Oh,
So
wow.
things were falling into place. And so then I started doing trainings. And uh, from there, I started on voluntary products. And I'm like, why? How did I get into insurance? It was just by fluke. It was like, hey, we need you to do this in order to train on that. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So I got my insurance license. But I was not enjoying what I was doing. And then when I heard of the Affordable Care Act and what was going on and how to be able to help, that I went, ooh, this I
Mm.
like.
Yeah.
And the more I looked at it, the more I was intrigued by it. And then once I started to actually work with the families, I realized, oh my goodness, I am helping others and
Mhm.
I'm educating others. And that's what really got me to stay. So
Yeah.
it was by fluke I got in, but it was the ability to help and educate that got me to stay. And so I absolutely love what I do. I love being able to come up with interesting ways to provide employee benefits and to share those with the employers. And sometimes it's don't get the medical right now. Let's start with something else, or let's not do anything right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And figuring out those things makes it fun.
Now, me and the Affordable Care Act. So when it came out, I was frustrated because I didn't make a lot of money in my business at the time. I was making very minimal profit. And I looked at it and I went, man, I've got to go pay for insurance now. And the problem I had is I have epilepsy. So getting health insurance was always weird.
Right.
However, I had a deal with up until 2014. I had a deal with my doctor because of the fact that I had done consulting work for them in 2008 and 9, and like they couldn't afford to pay me, so I got free medical service. Like I could go to the
Nice,
doctor anytime I wanted, free of charge, right? Uh,
nice.
and then my medication for that every year came out to roughly about it was about 40 30 or $40 a month. So like
Okay.
these are minimal charges, and now all of a sudden they're saying like with the ACA there was like this mandate. Well, you have to have insurance or you got to pay a fine, and I'm like, wait a minute, my insurance is now 10 times what my medical bills are, right?
Right.
I don't want to do that, right? And then I was doing for the longest time I was doing just paying the fine. I didn't care. I just pay the fine until my wife and I got married. Now
Okay.
the fine was sizably different because my wife she's a C-suite executive and has a six-figure job. So she had to add me to her insurance, which it was cheaper to
Yay.
add me to her insurance than it was to pay the fine for me not having
Right.
insurance. Yeah.
Right.
If that's not confusing, all right, that's a numbers confusing game you probably have fun with. But in my mind, I'm going, I don't want to deal with that.
What? Yeah. And I do the calculation for people, and it's like, this is what it's going to cost. And then it's like, and some of them said, I'll pay the fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting thing is that a few years ago, people are like, oh, the fine has been removed
Mhm.
or they got rid of it. And it's like, no, they didn't. Uh, the Affordable Care Act is a tax law. That means the IRS is involved. And because it's a tax law, it's not unconstitutional as some had said way
Mhm.
back when they were trying to get rid of it. And
Yeah.
then and I tell people I am not defending and nor am I putting down. I am just sharing the facts, people.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
facts. This
Just fact.
is
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, this is what it is. And so when they got rid of the fine about 3 years ago, it's not that they got rid of the fine. The fine is still there to this day. It is there. If they were to have gotten rid of the fine, they had to go through Congress. It was a pain in the rear to actually remove it. So what they did is that they brought it down to zero. So it's there at zero, which gave the ability to bring it back if they need to.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's the interesting thing is it's that it never went away. It just went from the 2.5% down to zero.
Yeah.
So
So basically, all right, no matter how much you think electing the next president is going to change that, it probably isn't.
correct.
Yeah, really. As you can tell, I'm someone who I voted my way, and like I have my opinions, but like I don't always get my way. Half the time, the guy I didn't vote for wins. Oh well, it's just life. But interesting that what I mean. You've got an interest in insurance, but you and I talked about an awful lot of other stuff that you do. Now you have a lot of interest, and I look a lot of things in your Facebook posts about things you do in life. Like,
Right.
can we talk about some of the adventures you do, or
Yes.
the marathon?
So
I don't know what you call them things, but yeah.
well, I have been known to run a little. So in 2018, I had surgery on my ankle because I had torn my tendon and shredded my ligaments, which I had done in 2017 when I did my first Spartan race. So in
Okay.
2017 is what started this whole madness. I started doing the mud runs. And so the first Spartan that I did was in August. And within the first mile, I twisted my foot and I finished the race. Didn't think about it until I was going to take off my shoes, and then the pain was there. But it wasn't until January that I figured out, oh, torn tendon and shredded ligament. So I had surgery. Well, I wanted to get back to the gym, and I couldn't because I'm in a boot. I had limited what I could do, and so I started doing a little bit of running to get my endurance back. And so that little bit of running became into more running because I'm like, ooh, I kind of enjoy running. And so I started running more and running more. And then I got my Garmin watch, and that was a lot of fun because it's, from Fitbit, I couldn't see anything with my Garmin. I can see my pace, I can see a lot of my cadence, a lot of different things. And so in 2018 is when I started to run. 2019 is when I really started to even put in more effort. And that's when I got my first medal, came in second in my age group on a 5K, so 3.1 miles. And, uh, and that was really exciting because I would have been third, but one of the people within my age group had gotten the masters at 40 and over. She had came in whatever
Mhm.
one first, second, or third. So it pushed me up to second. So I'm like, yes. So that was pretty exciting. I continued training, and I was running in the rain, in the snow, in the cold. I had to get my lighted vest because I was running outside at night, and I don't like treadmill, running in treadmill. I've learned to run in treadmill for certain things, but I really don't enjoy it. So it's always out. And so this morning, as I was out running, my lighted vest, my headlamp to see and to let other people know I'm here. So in 2020, I did 4 half marathons in the first 3 months of the year, and I placed in three out of the four, second or third in my age group. I did a 10K, I came in second in my age group. I did a 5K, I came in second in my age group, and I did do a beer mile. I came in first for all women in that one. That one was kind of fun. So it's been good to be able to get out there and just compete. I'm very competitive, so be able to compete. I came in fourth this year in the last two races that I've done, and one of them I came in fourth by 0.03 milliseconds. I was like,
But I mean, I'm just in my mind. All right, Gladys, I gotta know why would you do this? That's like torturing your body. Why?
to be able to just, for me, I realized why I enjoyed it was when I'm out running, it's my time. I'm
Okay.
thinking about my body. How does it feel? How, is there a crack on that I need to be careful? Is how is my breathing doing? And my physical therapist is the one that really got me into looking at all those things because she helped me uh, improve my time within. It was a 2 minutes per mile, if you will. My pace was increased. That's why I came in second,
Hmm.
but it's about that. And so I am able to block everything out. I don't have to think about work. I don't have to think about home. I don't have to think about grocery list. I don't have to think about anything other than right now. And that is something that I definitely need because my mind is always going. And
Okay.
other times, as I'm running, I'm thinking about different ideas, different things that come up. And so it's my time to think about things, or it's my time to just shut everything out and just be in the moment. So that's why I realized how much I liked it. And I am a little competitive. So then I started racing, and that is being able to push myself just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Oh, you passed me. Oh, no, you didn't. So
Ah.
that makes it fun, really.
Wow. And like, these are things I've never got into. I mean, I was into riding motorcycles because, the power is like I just twist my hand and it goes
Oh,
faster. So, yeah, I was not into pedaling my bike, although I do have a very, very fancy mountain bike that was left to me by a friend who passed away in 2003. I still have it till this day. It's old considering new mountain bikes, but
yeah,
it's old standard, right? But to me, it's fancy anyway. But
yeah.
I
Fun
just was never into it. Yeah.
They do have those electric bikes now that are really cool. So that way you do minimal pedaling. It's more powered by.
Oh, no, 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 no. Tim found a gas motor that I can bolt up to my mountain bike.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, my name Tim. All right, you're thinking like Tim the Tool Man. Yeah, I want power. Give me the power. Oh, oh, oh,
Right.
oh. Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway,
much fun.
so yeah, that's the things I would be into. Um, like I tried walking, like during the pandemic, I tried to walk just to keep myself because I would.
Mhm.
One of the things I did before the pandemic was afternoons. Mom and I used to go to the mall to get
Yeah.
our coffee. There was a coffee shop at the mall. Well, then we'd walk around the mall,
Mhm.
and the mall we went to was like not that busy. So like in the afternoon on a weekday,
Yeah.
man, you got a great walking track. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, they opened up the local malls here early to allow the seniors to go in and do their walk-in.
Yeah, they were doing it like the mall that my mom and I went to. Actually, I worked in that mall in 2005 in a coffee shop that used to be there, and that was what I used to come in the morning and watch people walk around the mall. Of course, that was my favorite coffee shop that I ever worked for, because coffee being one of my things, was because the
Yeah.
mall didn't open till 10 a.m.
Ah.
So Tim F didn't have to be to work till like 9:30, 10 in the morning. Let's face it, this body doesn't get up before 8 a.m. I'm old. I'm not like you young kids. Yeah.
Getting up at 5:30 in order to get out the door by 6 with the lighted vest because it's dark out and raining and
No,
42 degrees.
no, no. As a matter of fact, like it was a little chilly this morning, and we went to Starbucks, and my mom was like, "I can't believe you don't have a heavy coat on," because it was like 55, 60 degrees.
Uh-huh.
So I can't believe you don't, because like me, I'm a wimp. I put on a heavy coat when it gets cold. But
Yeah.
when I first moved to Dallas from the Northeast, I'll tell you, I loved my first winter here. My first winter, I love it because I'm like, man, oh, this is great. You guys think this is bad? Second one, I was still kind of bragging, but I had a light jacket I kept in the
Mhm.
car. I was here 5 years, and I had a pastor tell me this: is once you're here 5 years, you will walk outside and the temperature is going to be 55 degrees, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I need a winter coat. He was right. It's exactly the way
Your
I am.
body gets adjusted. Yeah. Oh, I
My
see
mom,
42 degrees and I'm like, I can run in this. This is fine. Long sleeve, gloves. I'm good.
what is your winters like up out there?
Well, it's the Pacific Northwest, so it can rain at any time. Yesterday, it was fine when I got in the office, and then it started pouring down rain. It's been in the 50s. It was 42 degrees this morning, and then it'll be like a high of 56. It rains a lot, and it will get cold, and every so often it will snow, but not so much because we're at sea level, so it doesn't always get down to here. And sometimes if it does, it doesn't stick. But a lot of rain. So it starts to rain around September a little, then October. It'll get colder this November and it'll start raining a lot more, like every day. And so you learn that if it's raining, you still go out and do stuff because if you wait for it not to rain, you'll be outside maybe a couple of months out of the year because it's constantly raining.
Well, here it's if it's over, you know what I mean. People will stay inside if it's over 90 degrees, which we have a ton of 100-degree days here. I'm used to it by now because 2010 through 2018, all I had was a motorcycle, and if I
Mhm.
had to go on a trip, I was on a motorcycle. There was no AC in the motorcycle. It was go out in the heat.
Mhm.
So, and if I had to take my choices between heat or cold on the motorcycle, I'll take the heat.
Oh yeah, we had a freeze here in February. It downed trees, power lines. I mean, it was just bad. So certain parts got snow, other parts got ice, and so the whole tree limbs were just icicles, and you're
Mhm.
hearing it crack, and then some of them just come right down. It was crazy. So that was February, and then in July we had a heat wave where it was 109, 111. I mean, it was just, it killed everybody's lawn.
Mhm.
So it's like in 1 year, it was craziness here. Weather's just not normal.
Yeah. Now I will say this. I took one motorcycle trip many, many years, probably about 10, 11 years ago now,
Mhm.
that I rode from here in Dallas out to Los Angeles, and then I went all the way up the coast to Seattle,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And I did a couple inland and outland, in and out
Mhm.
jaunts going up through Oregon, and did I did like Crater Lake, things like that, Medford, stuff like that, where I knew people and went in and out. But like the second I hit the coast, like just above Los Angeles, I hit the coast, and I was like that.
It's
I
cool.
remember having to write. I got to my hotel that night, and I called my daughter, and I said, "Listen, I will be staying at this address for the next 10 days. I need you to ship me this, and this to ride in the cold. I didn't have it." Yeah.
Oh, that's way too funny. But you know what? You got to prepare for that. It's here in Oregon. You have to layer. It's always about layering. It's the vest. It's the undershirt. It's the light jacket. Then your beanie and the gloves and the light jacket, the thicker jacket, and then the coat.
Yeah. Interesting. So, I mean, but I'm, you know, what I mean, I wasn't really, I can't say that I used to be more of an outdoor person. I'm not as much anymore. Probably the pandemic has kept me in more than anything. I didn't go out as much. All right. That has been changed. But during the pandemic, did you still you kept your pace and still running and still outside every day?
Yeah, not every day, but yes, I still got out, and a few of us ended up at one point. We started running, still running together. We were socially distanced. We were outside. We had our buffs on, and so when we would take a picture, it's like we're 6 feet apart at least, and getting the pictures in and our buffs up. So we were very careful about that. All the races went either canceled, postponed, or virtual. And I did do some of the virtual races, but it's just not the same. Yeah, you can keep pace and you can push yourself, but it's not the same when somebody passes you and then that pushes you to, pass them again, or just pushes you to maintain, or hey, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna reach that person. You don't have that, so it was really lost. And I still did running, but not as many miles. My January, February, and March miles, they were about 150 miles of running miles that I did, and then in April, it went down to like 125. Then it was at 100, and then it was under 100. So, and because the races are the ones that add additional mileage to the training. And then the winter was a little cold in open enrollment, and then I got sick, and so my running went.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get it back up again to where I used to be. So I'm not where I need to, where I would want to be, but I feel like, okay, I'm starting all over again. That's okay. Back to my training that I did in 2019. That's how I feel right now. So I'm like, I'll get there. I'll get there. So, but yeah, I started doing more hiking and backpacking trips, and those were fun. Being able to be out in the wilderness and going, oh, is this where we're going to camp? Okay. Set up tent and make dinner by boiling water, putting it into the little dehydrated food,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
always with whiskey. Some whiskey always had to be present because that's important.
Yeah. Now, now I have a friend. She's a missionary. All right, somebody I grew up with. That her and her friend do like almost every year something adventuresome. And during the pandemic, they did a bike, like pedal bike ride from one coast to the other.
Wow.
They started like up there. I think they started in Oregon and they pedaled all the way to New Jersey, I think. And yeah, then
Wow.
and in 2021 they did it on motorcycles, I think.
Okay.
Um,
A little bit easier.
yeah, a little bit. But I mean, I look at something like that. I mean, or we look at like the movie Forrest Gump where he like ran, right? And like you look at that. Is that anything that you've ever thought like, I want to take on that adventure? Let's just walk jogs across the country.
I ever so briefly did think about that, like how much do I want to run? And I met a lady at one of the last 10Ks that I did, and she had already done half marathons in 40 different states.
Hmm.
And so it was just kind of fun to meet her and talk to her about that. And she had done a half marathon in Washington a year or two ago, and then this year she did Oregon. And so it was just kind of fun to have that kind of a goal to be able to run in all states. So I'm like, oh, I can hang with that because in 2020 I was supposed to do the Rock and Roll Marathon Series, which I would have been able to go to multiple states to
Hmm.
do these races. And of course, with the pandemic, that went away and they moved it to this year, pushed it into next year. So at this point, I'm like, am I going to want to try to do that? And there are some international ones. Are the international ones happening? So it really threw off a lot of those goals of things that I wanted to do, but that doesn't mean they're not still there. I think I've added the let's run in every state. I think is one of the ones that I want to add to my goal list.
Yeah, I did a motorcycle ride in every state. I've got that down.
Oh,
um, well, it's interesting when you think about stuff like that. All right, and the people who want to take on those adventures and go do stuff like that, but you're able to keep it going throughout. You know what I mean? Throughout the pandemic. One of the things that I wanted to know was because during the pandemic, everybody's like, "Oh, you got to wear a mask and everything." When you're out running, you don't have a mask on, do you?
not usually. I had buffs before they were cool. I
Yeah.
just got to say. So I had gotten a lot of buffs a few years ago because I would run out in the winter when it's
Mhm.
cold and it's icy and it's windy, and so I had my buff. I always would keep it down. But sometimes when I would start running, it was up, it was covering me, it was keeping me warm. It really
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
So I loved it. And then, but at one point, you're running, anywhere between, at one point when I was running those longer 8 to 12 miles, by mile two, it's like, okay, I'm warm enough. And then it would just drop down to here. So
hmm
I got used to running with it, but not the entire race. And if there's nobody around me, there was no reason to have my
yeah,
buff
yeah.
on. But I always kept it on even during the summer, because if I was road racing, I wasn't out in the woods, I was on my, just neighborhood. I would always have my buff so that if I saw somebody coming and I couldn't move over enough, and even if I could, I still put my buff up to give the hey, I'm doing something. But some people were just still moving out of my way, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is actually kind of cool. People are moving out of my way, to let me through. But yeah, it's a little bit harder to breathe when you
That's
have
yeah.
something right on your face. It definitely is.
That was my main concern was is breathing because I know your body's doing stuff. So, you
Yeah.
know, my wife did a marathon on her 50th birthday, and it
Right.
was in so a little like a little bay town
Uh-huh.
in south of San Francisco that she did it in. I can't think of Half Moon Bay,
Oh
California
yeah.
marathon.
Okay.
She did it in for her 50th birthday. And
Oh,
like we all went out, right? And she ran the marathon. While she's running the marathon, we're goofing off in Half Moon Bay.
right.
But
What else
yeah,
are you going to do? That's the whole purpose, is to give family members time to do something fun. That's why there's usually festivities going on to keep everybody entertained while the others are doing a 10K in an hour, or a half marathon in 2 hours, or a marathon in 4 to 5 hours. So it just depends on what it is that you're running. And next year will be my marathon. It was supposed to be 2020, pushed it off to this year, and I said no. So that'll be my goal for next year, is to do my first full marathon.
mhm,
So
mhm.
fun
Well,
stuff.
I mean, you're adventuresome in your activities, all right, as far as running. You're adventuresome in the fact that you went down a line of being in business for yourself and found a niche to help people. All right.
Yeah.
What got you to be this entrepreneurial type spirit where you're adventuresome in different areas of your life and business?
Well, I've been, since I was a kid, I was always selling something. In third, was it third grade, second grade, second or third grade? Yeah, I guess it was third grade. I was in drill team, and so we had to raise funds to for our uniforms. So I was selling candy, I was selling donuts, and so I was allowed. Mom would give me permission to go to where she worked. She was a seamstress, so I would go to one of the shops and tell them, hey, fundraiser. And so, donuts. You want donuts for this much? So I'm taking the orders down, and then I would go to the other shops that she had worked at, and I'd get permission from the owner. And so I'd go around, and then when the donuts would come in, Mom would collect all of them for me and then help me deliver them. And it was funny because Mom was smart enough to know that people are gonna want the donuts when they actually see the donuts. So she bought like 6 extra dozens. So as I'm going in, they're like, well, I want one. Okay, well, it's this much. So I was able to raise a little bit of funds that way. When I was in high school, I was always selling something. I was selling dresses, little headbands. I was selling donuts. So my mom would lend me $2.50, and I'd go to the donut shop and I'd get a baker's dozen, and sometimes they give me an extra one in there, so I'd get 14. And then I would take it to school and I would sell the donuts for 50 cents each. And so then at the end of the day, I'd come home and I'd give Mom her $2.50 back, and I'd keep the profits. And my senior year, we're taking an economics class, and one of the advisors that came in from KPMG, he auctioned off one of the donuts. I got $5 for it, and he was trying to show us how stocks work and how the demand for something
Yeah.
drives the price. And so he used my donut as an example. So I was always selling something, and I always had a side hustle when I had a regular job. And at one point, it was when I broke away and became my own broker. It was a little scary. And there was a lot of people that I knew that said, well, it's about time. We knew you should be doing this on your own. But at the same time, I want to be able to have fun aside from, even though I love what I do, I like to do other things. And so the
Mhm.
running comes into place. I became an owner of a winery here in Oregon. And when I was in, yes, I do own a partial winery. So, or I own stock in the winery, and I get paid in wine credits. So instead of getting stock or getting dividends, it's wine credits. So it's non-taxable. Well, I'm going to buy wine anyway. So why not get, paid in wine, right? And in doing that, I saw that there was an ambassadorship option. So I went through the application and interview process, and I'm an ambassador for Willamette Valley Vineyards in Turner, Oregon. So, yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
I didn't. Are we going to be doing tasting? We'll get into that in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, so great Pinot Noir. And if you go to your local Kroger, they do carry Willamette Valley Vineyard Pinot Noir. Because I saw it. Somebody was doing a tasting from California when I was down there back in August. And I'm like, okay, well, let me tell you about Pinot Noirs. And I shimmied her over and I said, so this is Erath. That's an Oregon wine, delicious. This is Willamette Valley Vineyards. I'm an ambassador. Here's A to Z, another Oregon winery. Great. And so I'm like pushing Oregon wines to somebody that's representing a California winery.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do enjoy my wine.
Cool. Well, that kind of tweaks as we go towards the end of the conversation here. All right, is I want to tell everybody that like you and I are starting a podcast, and when I mentioned it to you, what made you go, yeah?
Well, you are more of a tech person than I am. We had been talking about it over 3 days, and sharing a little bit of whiskey or moonshine, what have you. It was just one of those things that I'm like, oh my goodness, this will be more fun to do it with somebody else that's also passionate about it than on my own. And then if I have to do it on my own, I'm pretty lame when it comes to technology. And so I'm like, oh, I'll be zooming, recording, posting. I'm like, this isn't gonna flow nicely. And so it was when you said, hey, I was like, yes.
So so like our idea is around this was we're gonna taste alcohol and then pair it with food, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And like when I forget, like I think you said the tasting alcohol, but I said let's pair it with food. I forget how but like we've kind of morphed it as we go along.
Absolutely. It's, I love food. I don't like food. I love food. So you put a spirit and then some food that goes with it. It's just amazing. I have this whiskey that I have at home that I've tasted before. I've, sipped on it. And yesterday I had it and I'm like, oh, there's a few spices I hadn't tasted before, and I'm like, ooh, it's sweeter than normal. And then I started thinking about, oh, well, I just ate this. And so it was what I had eaten that had enhanced and had brought out some of the flavors of this whiskey. And that's what food can do. It can just make it go kind of like in the movie Ratatouille, where he's explaining how he's eating this and the cheese, and then he adds this, and it's just this blending of flavors that's just amazing. And then you add a spirit to it, it just cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yum yum yum.
Oh yeah. So I was just looking to see our Facebook page to get the address for our Facebook page, and it's still not letting me get through to share it, but it's good. Anyway, the web page I'm going to put it in here is for everybody is Lady G and Mr. T. What made you come up with that, by the way?
Well, I've been called Lady G before, and when I got one of my heart rate monitors through the gym, you got to put in your name, and then you can see what's going on up on the screen. So everybody that has their heart rate monitor, as we're going through our workouts, we can see where we all are. And it's really cool that you can compete with somebody that's a different gender, different age, different body type, because it's all affiliated with me being 5'2", weighing 120. And I can compete against somebody else that's 6 foot, weighs 250. We can still compete when it comes to our heart rate and how we're pushing our bodies. So it's really cool. My zone, I love it. And so when I was picking my name, I went with Lady G. And so that's what they would see up on the board. And then one of the trainers came up and she's all, "So you Lady G?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." And so then everybody else started calling me Lady G. And it's kind of one of those things that morphed from like 5 years ago. And when I was looking at names, I thought, well, let's do something different, something fun, because we were going through the mastermind and figuring out fun things. And so then I was like, well, and then I said, ooh, T, because I was thinking Gillette. So I was like, Lady G and Mr. G. And I was like, no, because then it would be Lady B. And then I'm like, hello, Mr. T. And I was like, duh. So that's how that came about, just playing with the letters and the names and how we could combine both of our names in there. And so that's, and if you look at my name, it's G. So it's the Glady. It's just the S that's missing. So that's how. Just messing around and coming up with fun stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, it's actually on. There's a Facebook page onto it, Lady G and Mr. T, but we don't have our assigned username. We need a couple more subscribers to get there on Facebook. But I know you got an Instagram page started, right?
Yes.
All right.
I posted a couple of pictures, so I'm trying to do a little bit more. So I'll get that going and take more pictures of some of the cocktails and different, spirits that'll be fun to have out there.
But like our first episode is going to be broadcast, and we'll eventually move it over to there. But our first episode will be broadcast on my channels. I'm sure you'll share it on your channels. All right, with Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. But I have another Facebook page called Bartender Life Coach. I'll share it on there as well.
Yes.
But the idea behind this is like, we'll be tasting cocktails or tasting actual alcohol. We won't be tasting. Maybe we'll mix cocktails on one of our episodes. We don't know, but we'll see. But
yep.
Our first one is coming up this Monday, right? We broadcast it live this Monday, and we're doing vodkas.
Vodkas, yes. And these specifically are corn vodkas.
Yes.
We'll do another one on potato vodkas, so that'll be separate. But this particular one is corn
vodkas. So and like I just got my Oregon one in, and shipped to me today. So. You know what I mean? And it's interesting that we had to pick some of them. You picked two, or one of them is from Texas that I'm like, that's like a bland vodka from Texas.
There's two from Texas and one from Oregon. Yeah.
So the specialty one that I would have picked from Texas, I don't know if it's a corn vodka or not, is Dripping Springs. But anyway, we'll get on to the show. But it's only available here in Texas, so I'd have to get it shipped to you, like type deal. But anyway. We won't get into the technicalities of how much booze we're shipping across state lines. So we both can taste the same booze. Yeah, anyway.
That's important. That is so important because it'll defeat the purpose if we're trying to taste something that is different. We got to keep it, the same.
So, I mean, and it will be every Monday night, all right? It will be broadcast, and then it'll be put out. You know what I mean? The audio will be put out on a podcast a couple days afterwards, and it's on a YouTube channel, all that stuff. So there's a whole different area. We're going all over the place. We will have a website up. Tim will make sure we have a website up because Tim knows how to create websites. Anyway, speaking of websites, what's the best website to get a hold of you, Gladys?
Going to insurancedesignpros.com. Insurance Design Pros. There is an S at the end.com.
Okay, cool. And like, is there any free reports or anything they can get on there when they go, or any?
Yes, on the upper left-hand corner, there's a report that is 101 ways to attract and retain quality staff through employee benefits. So if you click on the link that's there for the free report, you can request it, and you'll get it's a white paper essentially of just a list of different types of employee benefits, from your traditional to your non-traditional to big budget items to free items. So there's a lot of different things that evolve or involve having employee benefits, and which that's going to actually turn into a book that I'm working on. But there you can get the list, and then if you have thoughts on, well, how do I implement something like this, they can always reach out to me and say, hey, how do we do this one thing? Because most everything that's there, I have tried in my previous life. I currently have helped my clients do it or have known others that have also done it. So none of those are out of what I know. So it's kind of fun, different
If
ideas.
people and if people wanted to book a consultation with you, do you only work in certain states, or is there guidelines on that or not? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so that is everything is licensed. So I am licensed in Oregon. This is my resident state. I am a non-resident for Washington and California.
Okay.
Even if I have somebody that are employee benefits in those states, if it's on the group side, I can do. If it's on the individual side, I usually will find. I have brokers that I work in both states that I send those individuals. But if it's group, I can do. If it's life insurance, I can do. If it's individual disability, I can do. Because insurance is regulated, and because it's regulated, we have to have our license, and certain states will allow us to have a reciprocal license. Essentially, we'll say, hey, here's my license here. I do have to meet the criteria in other states. Some of them might require me to do fingerprinting again. California, because I did my fingerprints in Oregon, I don't know how many. I've been fingerprinted more in Oregon than ever before in my life. But because I've been fingerprinted there, they did not require me to be fingerprinted again. In Washington, the reciprocal is here. You pay the to have the license there, and so I am licensed. And with some carriers, I am also licensed to sell their products. So
Okay.
it's so specific because it is a regulated industry.
Okay. Cool. Well, I want to make sure they know that if someone from New Jersey watching that, a phone call with you is probably not going to help them. You're probably to send them somewhere. Yeah.
But I will always find them. If I get, that's one thing that when I was in corporate America, they would tell me, you get the weirdest calls, and it's because I always find the answer. If it's not me, then who can answer this question,
Right.
or who can help? And I will find them somebody, and then I will do that warm transfer. I'll call ahead of time to make sure. Hey Tim, can you take care of this person with this? And if Tim says yes, then I will say, okay, so this is who's going to call you, and I do the virtual introduction. If Tim says yeah, no, then I move on to the next person. So I do all the vetting before I even pass them on. So it's a warm transfer, even
That's
if
good.
it's somebody
Yeah.
I've not met before. Yep, I can help them.
Yeah. Because when it comes to insurance and stuff like that, sometimes people don't want, they want to work with someone they're comfortable and they know. So I get that.
Yep.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Gladys, before you go, I have a little game I like to play with all of my guests. I have 7 envelopes. You get to pick 3 of them, and I'm going to open them up individual, the 3 you pick, and it's ask you the questions inside of them. So give me 3 numbers, 1 through 7.
7, 3, and 2.
7, 3, 2.
Yep.
Those ones go over there. Here we go. We're going to open them up and play this little game and see what we can find out about Gladys.
Oh my goodness.
Number 1, Gladys, in this envelope is question: when you're riding in your car, do you listen to podcast or music?
Music, absolutely.
What kind of music?
Yes. I keep a little bit of everything on my presets. I have classical on there. I have alternative rock. I have classic rock. I got my Spanish stations, and then I have the soft rock. So I have a little bit of everything in there. And every so often, if when I'm doing scanning and something that I don't understand at all, I'll leave it there, because if the tune catches me, I'll like, oh, okay. One time I was rocking out going, okay, I like the tune. And then I realized, oh, it was a Christian station. And I went, oh, okay.
Okay. Like, you have satellite radio?
I don't.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
just
I got
regular.
satellite in my cars, so yeah.
Yeah. But what I have done, because I have my radio station that I've been listening to since junior high, I will listen to K Rock on Odyssey. So I can plug in my car will attach to my Odyssey, so then I can play the station in the morning when I'm driving to the office. So yeah, I can technically attach myself.
So I have on my iPhone, I have an app from my station that I grew up listening to, WMMR in Philadelphia. All right. And then my favorite DJ from them growing up, he works for another station in Philadelphia WMGK, and I listen to them on an app as well. But WMMR is on an app, and I will put it on my phone in my car and listen to WMMR in Philadelphia all over the country. I love it. I used to do it on the bike, on the motorcycle, and it would be blaring out the speakers of the bike, and the guy would say, like, so it's a sunny day in downtown Philadelphia, and I'm in like North Wyoming, you know.
That's hilarious. Yep.
So anyway, number 2 question in this one here is high heels or boots?
Well, normally I love my heels. I really do. But being in the Pacific Northwest, today I'm wearing boots. So winter is boot season for me, and I wear a lot of dresses because I can wear my boots because boots look kind of weird underneath my suit pants. So wearing a dress skirt with my boots, I love it. But I've always loved my heels. So the answer is it depends.
No. We're talking shoes, not depends. That's another subject for later on. Just clarifying for those people who thought that question came up. Anyway, at the movies, do you like to get popcorn or candy?
Popcorn. Definitely popcorn.
You get all the butter on them still?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I ask them to layer the butter as they're putting it in because I usually get a bucket. And so they'll layer and then add more, and then any leftovers go home.
Yeah. So, envelope number 3. First question is, who is the greatest NFL quarterback of all time, Joe Montana or Tom Brady?
Joe Montana.
See,
yep.
Some people are just set in their ways on that one. All right.
I grew up watching him, and he is just amazing. Yes, there's other quarterbacks. I'm a Cowboy fan. In case you didn't notice, I got. But Joe Montana is just amazing. Yeah. Sorry, Brady.
Yeah, to me, Joe Montana for the longest time, he held 4 Super Bowl wins. All right. Terry Bradshaw had 4 Super Bowl wins. And I remember watching. Now, I'm not saying I'm just not a fan of Tom Brady, but still, I got to admire the guy's good. And I was watching the Super Bowl that Tom Brady won to beat Terry Bradshaw's record. And Terry Bradshaw was the guy who called it, that he's beating his record. So, that was cool. Anyway. And I'm not a big football fan, but anyway. Which one scares you more, snakes or spiders?
Spiders. I don't like spiders. I've held snakes before, including a big boa when I was in 6th grade. I had gone to a competition at the Arboretum in California, in Southern California, in LA. And so got to put a boa around me, and that was really cool. They had to help me. The darn thing was so heavy.
You're tiny. I'm like, that boa had to be weigh as much as you because you're so tiny.
I think it weighed more, hence why they were holding it over here so that I can put I could wrap around. It was really cool. Yeah, spiders. It's like, where's my cat? When I had a cat, it's like, could you get that for me? And the cat was really good at catching stuff. So yeah, no.
Nah, me, it's snakes. I can't stand snakes. Yeah. Anyway, question number 3 in here. This is an interesting one. I like it when an office person gets it. Are the things in your office held together by staples or paper clips?
For the most part, paper clips, although I will staple certain things. So what I do is that things that go together get stapled together. And then let's say that there's an invoice and then another invoice that's a duplicate invoice. Those will get stapled together, but then all the invoices would get clipped together.
Yeah.
So
I'm a staple guy. This is my office operations manual, and it's stapled together. Yeah, I don't even have it. I was going to put it in a binder, but I didn't. Anyway, last envelope, number 2 you chose, and let's see what our first question is in this one here. Okay, now you watched the movie Matrix. Which pill did you choose, the red pill or the blue pill?
Oh, I didn't. I mean, I watched the movie, but it was so long ago. I didn't pick a pill. I just watched
pick one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so red pill, blue pill. All right, the red pill is. I'm not trying to get it up here on here. It's supposed to tell a lot about you as to whether the red pill, the red pill is supposed to be. I can't even find a definition of which one's which. Taking the red pill will remain in continued ignorance. The blue pill is I want the truth and reality.
Yeah, as much as I want to be in La La Land, I said, sometimes where my IQ is, if it was just a little bit less, then I could be oblivious to stuff, or if I was a little bit more, I wouldn't care. But I'm in that where I would love to be able to be in one, but it would be the blue. It would definitely, yeah,
Okay.
just give it to me, and I'll have to deal with it and just work through
Hit
it.
it. Hit me with the straight. So,
Yeah.
question number 2 in here is McDonald's or Taco Bell?
Oh,
I knew this one was going to be fun, but I can't wait for the next question. But you got to give me an answer.
um, I guess if I had to pick, it would be McDonald's. I don't eat fast food very often. It's once in a great while. And once in a great while, I might want some chicken nuggets. And once in a great while, I might want a Big Mac. Taco Bell is just, you're giving me memories, past memories of stuff that just, I have this connotation with Taco Bell.
Oh.
So because of that, I will have to go with McDonald's.
See, I love McDonald's. All right, I don't eat there every day, but when I was broke and homeless, the dollar menu, like the dollar McDouble sandwich, I loved it, and it gave me enough nutrition to get through the day twice a day because of the fact it's all the money I had, right? Yeah, so it was. I mean, I like that, but I still like McDonald's because I'm a hamburger guy, right?
Yeah.
So
Over
anyway,
tacos. Homemade tacos. I guess that's the other thing is I'd rather make my own tacos. They just taste that much better.
I have in one of these envelopes. There's a question: tacos or hamburgers, and one of these envelopes. I have all kinds of weird ones in them. But the last question, it's interesting because I think you kind of answered this one. Who is the better football team, the Dallas Cowboys or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Cowboys have been doing pretty darn well lately. They've been holding their own.
Yeah.
Even without Dak, they pulled off a win again. So they're starting to, and hopefully they don't implode.
So I grew up an Eagles fan from the Pennsylvania, and the Eagles fan always had two favorite teams. Number one being the Eagles, and number two, whoever was playing Dallas.
There you go.
But I live in Dallas, and I have been to more Dallas Cowboys games than I've been to Philadelphia Eagles games. And I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I live here, right?
Well, yeah, you get to go to a game. When I lived in LA, I loved going down to San Diego and go watch a Chargers game because it's a football game. Hello. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And when I was in Dallas that day, I wasn't even thinking about going to a game, but I said, oh, maybe they're playing tomorrow, and this is Saturday. And, I'm looking, and the game was on Saturday because it was preseason, and I'm like, oh, darn. So I got some awesome seats, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can hang with this. So it was preseason, so they were dirt cheap, and I'm like, I'll take it because I don't know when I'll ever be back.
So, yeah, like now, the Cowboys and stuff, like I've never been a fan, but when I moved here in 1998, again, think about the Cowboys in the 90s. I had this thing in my mind going, you know what would be cool? Would be cool to live in a town where, the city, they won the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Cowboys have not been past the first round of the playoffs since I've moved here. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl twice since I've been here and won.
Right.
Right?
Right.
However, since I've been here, the Stars won the NHL, the Mavericks won the NBA, and the what is it? The not the Texans. What's the football or the baseball team here? I can't even think. Our baseball team, like they went to the World Series 2 years in a row and lost 2 years in a row. But anyway, yeah.
Hey, and so that means that you're getting good vibes to the local teams. So yeah. Pass those good vibes to the Cowboys.
Now I have season tickets to the Mavericks, so and my like I'm supposed to go Saturday night, but I got my event this Saturday. But my wife was at a game on Sunday, and I go to the next one is like the 27th, right after Thanksgiving. I think is the next game I have on my that I have. So I'll be at my Mavericks. I got season tickets to that. So
nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, we don't have any teams here. I'd have to go up to Seattle to root for any teams because we have nothing here. Well, we have hockey. So.
Yeah. Well, one more time, tell everybody your website so they can get a hold of you and come find out more about you.
InsuranceDesignPros.com.
Mm-hmm. And be looking for us both on Lady G and MrT.com, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for taking time, Gladys, out of your schedule today to come in and share with my audience a bit about your story and to kind of give a pre-warmer for what we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. So,
No, thanks for having me. This was so much fun. Yay.
well, I'm glad I got to do something with you. So, I mean, come on. All right, you guys, listeners, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. All right, and checking us out. Do me a favor, go check out Gladys at insurancedesignpros.com and be sure to check out our new podcast where the two of us will be together starting Monday night. All right, and for now, go to ladygandmrt.com for more information, but follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for the time being. In the meantime, we'll be back real soon. Have a great day, guys. Bye.